Hi, Thrivers. Welcome to Cooking and Thriving, a space where we talk honestly about life, growth, and healing. If you're learning how to cope while still dreaming of thriving, you are in the right place. I'm grateful that you're here today, whether you're listening on your morning walk, during your commute, while studying, or just taking a moment for yourself. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with me. Here we have honest conversations about life, the questions we don't always have answers to, the emotions we sometimes struggle to put into words, and the journey of learning not just how to cope, but how to thrive. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm so glad you guys are here. Take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's spend the next few minutes having an honest conversation. Today, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind ever since I had a conversation. I know, because the last time it was also through a conversation that led to the episode. But yeah, I had an interesting conversation with somebody. I'm not going to mention the name or the relationship for that. And it made me stop to think about how many of us carry the quiet pressure every day. And just a little reminder that you don't have to have everything figured out to belong here, right? This is a space for honest conversations, quiet reflection, and a gentle growth, you know? So today's conversation is about purpose, or more specifically, the pressure we feel to find it. I don't have all the answers, guys, but I hope by the end of this episode, you will leave with a little more like peace than you came here with. As I mentioned that a few days ago, I had a conversation that stayed with me long after it ended. It made me realize how many of us quietly carry the pressure of trying to figure out what we meant to do with our lives. And I thought maybe I'm not the only one who's just ever felt that way. So, yeah, today we are going to be talking about purpose. Before we start, I really love to apologize for the last two episodes that I started. I'm just new to this. So yeah, the coughing, the sometimes the voice goes down, sometimes the voice is up, it's audible, and I know I don't have it all figured out, but hopefully stick with me and maybe we'll have to make some improvement. We'll make improvements. Actually, we are trying to make improvements. And yeah. And the first thing that I want us to discuss is why are we so obsessed with finding that one purpose? Maybe it's because we believe that once we find it, everything else just makes sense, or will make sense, or will just fall into place. We imagine that purpose will answer all our questions, remove our uncertainty, and just give us confidence. It becomes the destination we think we've been missing. But there are other reasons too. The first one being that I think we want certainty. Life is uncertain, and uncertainty can be uncomfortable. Having a clear purpose can feel like having a map. It gives us direction, so we naturally search for it. In the conversation that I had, the party that I had a conversation with mentioned the fact that how is it that some people get to pray for direction and they get shown that certain direction, and when they move in that they excel. But while it's for some of us, we pray, we roll, we cry, and still it feels like it's sort of like a trial and error that we our life basically is like we try this, it fails, we try the other thing, it fails. What is it with this? And this is where the fact that we feel like we want certainty, that yeah, if you have a clear map that this is where I'm supposed to go. You know the direction. So you naturally search for it. Like there are no complications. You don't have to try and fail. You know this is where you're supposed to be. But then if we have no clue where we're going, that is very, very sad, I guess. And this one is something that I really want to talk about. It's very, very I feel like it's something that is in a community or in a society very much that we compare ourselves to others. We see people who seem passionate about their careers or dreams and assume that they have it all figured out. We don't often see that they are the years of trial and error behind like where they are today. For instance, I'm so sorry, I don't want to point out names. There is a certain doctor that I sort of like in my mind, I'm like, if you're a medical doctor, you just had to go into medical school and you finished it. When he talked about his journey with how he got rejected, he didn't get in, and how now he's like sort of doing something great with his life, you would imagine that it was just a normal thing that he had a map. He followed that, and he never actually had problems in with back between, and it was like it's that thing you never really know someone. Yeah, you never really know someone. And the fact that social media now has actually become a thing, people can post what they choose to show people, and you think that, oh damn, this person has everything figured out. Kante, hey, it's going down, it's going down. Yeah, and I feel like this thing about comparing ourselves, the comparison is the thief of joy, you know? And if we focus so much on what others have, we tend to lose the path that we suppose, like, God has you in that path, God has you in that lane for a certain reason, and things will fall into place when they fall into place. But then because we see, oh, how fast this person got to this, how fast this person got successful, and then we often feel the need to, like, man, what am I doing? Is it enough? I feel like a failure, things like that. And this is where society puts pressure on us on finding purpose. Like, what am I meant to do? You know, as I mentioned, that we don't often see that the years of trial and error behind where they are today. The people that they seem that they have it all figured out. The people that seem that their careers are like thriving, they're thriving, and we don't see the coping side of that. Something that we need to talk about is the fact that we sort of been taught that everyone has one calling. Many of us grow up hearing questions like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What's your calling? What's your purpose? Those questions can make it seem as though there's one perfect answer waiting to be discovered. And if we don't find it, we are somehow behind, you know? And that's something also that contributes to this pressure. And another thing is we tie our purpose to our worth. Sometimes, without realizing it, we begin to believe that our value depends on what we achieve or contribute. So, if we don't know our purpose, we start questioning our worth. For instance, right? Let me offer a different perspective. But okay, so what if purpose isn't a single destination? What if it's something that unfolds over time? What if instead of spending our lives searching for one project purpose, we discover it through the way we love, the way we serve, the way we create, the way we learn and grow, right? And a little question that I'll want to ask you guys, or something that I'd like you guys to reflect on, is what if the goal isn't to find your purpose today? What if the goal is simply to take the next faithful step, trusting that purpose often becomes clearer as we keep moving? And maybe we've been asking the wrong question. Instead of asking, what's my one purpose? Perhaps we could ask, who am I becoming through the life I'm living today? Sometimes purpose isn't something waiting for us in the future. Sometimes it's already taking shape in the choices we make, the people we love, and the way we show up each and every single day. Okay, and something that I realize also with purpose is we have sort of like the fear of choosing the wrong path, right? A lot of us grow up believing that life is like a single road. There's a right path and there's a wrong path. And if we choose incorrectly, we have wasted time. For instance, I'm just gonna give with something that probably that I went through, right? It's not yeah, it's not that big of a deal. But I had this thing believing that I wanted to do medical science, right? And I don't even know where this thing came from. And then when I went to varsity, I was doing a BSc in microbiology. It was not going as planned. And it got to a point where I started questioning, hey, is this something that I need to do? Is this what am I being fulfilled with this, And I remember going to therapy because I was going to therapy, and my therapist was like, you could either push, because I was thinking of changing the degrees, you could either push, or you could either push and finish, or you could change, right? But then remember, the change comes with a lot of noise. Oh man, you've wasted time, you've wasted money, and you've gone too far. But now you can say, well, no, this is not what I want to do. There's no love, there's no passion, there's just, I don't see myself here anymore, right? And I think one of the biggest reasons we feel stuck when it comes to purpose is because we're afraid of choosing the wrong path. Right. And we put so much pressure on ourselves to make the perfect decision, the perfect degree, the perfect career, the perfect opportunity, that sometimes we become too afraid to move at all. Like it just becomes you become stuck. Should I move on? Should I, or just listen to my heart, change? But yeah. And also, where does this fear come from? This is a question we need to tackle. Where does this fear come from? The fear of taking the wrong path. We see other people's success stories, but rarely see their uncertainty. We think changing direction means we failed, and we believe our choices define us permanently. We compare our timeline to people who seem ahead. For instance, peers, the people who I went to varsity with. Some are graduating this year, some next year. And in your mind would be the fact that, oh, damn, you wasted so much time, you wasted so much resources, you wasted so much money. And you try to compare your timeline to the people who seem sort of ahead, but you don't see the uncertainty. You just see the success stories. You just see, okay, she completed that. But and also this thing of just changing, we feel like sort of like you just failed in a way, because okay, yeah, what would they say at home, especially that. But what if the path isn't something we choose once, right? What if it's something we adjust as we learn more about ourselves? Because honestly, many people discover themselves through experience. They don't wake up one day with a complete life blueprint, right? Sometimes we think we need clarity before we take the next step, but sometimes clarity comes because we took the step. And also, the last thing that I really want to talk about is the difference between purpose and pressure. I think this distinction uh, is really needed. It's really needed. Right? What is purpose? What does purpose feel like? This matters to me. I want to grow in this direction. This aligns with who I am becoming. I can take my time and learn. What does pressure feel like? I need to figure this out immediately. Everyone else knows what they're doing except me. If I don't succeed, I have no value. If I need to prove something, right? Sometimes we think we're searching for purpose, but we're actually carrying, what we're carrying is pressure. The pressure to be successful, the pressure to make our families proud, the pressure to not fall behind, the pressure to have an impressive answer when someone asks, what are you doing with your life? What, yeah. And maybe that's why finding purpose feels so heavy. Because somewhere along the way, purpose stopped feeling like something we explore and started feeling like something we have to achieve. But purpose isn't a race, it isn't a deadline, it isn't a test you either pass or fail, right? Instead of asking, what is my one purpose? Maybe we can start asking, what is the next meaningful step I can take? imagine how the world would be, right, if we did not have the pressure to be sort of somebody, to have everything figured out all at once, you know? And if you stayed this long, thank you guys. I'm so grateful. And I feel like this is like one of my best episodes ever. And I am so grateful that hope and I hope people actually listen to this one. And this is our closing line. Listen, it's very, very interesting. Coping isn't giving up. Remember that. It's giving yourself the grace to keep going. And thriving isn't about having it all figured out. It's about taking one step forward, one day at a time. Until next time, take care of yourself, guys. This is Precious, and thank you for listening to Coping and Thriving.